Well, hello, friends. Welcome to a special episode of the Trinity of Death Podcast. This is not a special episode, as you can judge by the title. And you're probably wondering to yourself, I didn't see you guys anywhere for Christmas. Well, it's the holidays. We were busy, and we decided it would be a good off time to not record an episode. But we are returning within the new year. We hope you had a good holiday, by the way. We are returning in with the new year with what we announced originally, which is... Ethan, you want to regale them?
Da, 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 da. You should be able to know what we're talking about now.
Oh yeah, we have a special episode for you right now. We are going to be reviewing Star Wars The Last Jedi. We should...
There's some split opinions here, so this will be an interesting conversation.
Oh, very much so. Actually, better yet, I'm very happy about this because I can just sit the fuck back, eat my popcorn, and watch you guys fucking fight over it. So you're not getting a special here. You're getting a Hell in a Cell match between Charles Ankokukishi, however the fuck you pronounce it, versus IronMonger. Hell in a Cell, 2 out of 3 falls, fucking Punjabi prison, fucking for the I can rant about shit on the internet title. So this is basically just going to be our review on what we thought of the movie. And you're going to see a lot of polarizing opinions. And once again, yes, you're going to hear spoilers.
Yes.
By this point, when you hear this, a month or over a month since the movie came out. So if you haven't seen it yet, that's your fault. But
spoiler warning in all caps.
And I hope you people didn't go see it and saved your money and went out for a nice dinner.
Well,
without further ado.
Yeah, begin. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know if we want to start with negative or positive, but
you know what?
There's such thing as positives in this fucking movie.
I knew that was going to be his response.
I'm going to start with Ethan. And Charles, don't interrupt until Ethan actually gives you the process to...
Well,
I'm so excited I get to be moderator. Yay! I'll chime in. Trust me, I'll give my review. But yeah. Ethan, you go ahead and go first.
So I was going to say we could do some negative stuff at first because I know Charles has 0 positive things to say about this movie. But I guess if I start positive, that'll start us on a bit of a brighter note. So...
Even keel. Yeah.
And
go for it.
And I'll just, destroy your hopes and dreams within 2 words.
Whatever
and
you say.
I'm going to have a smoke.
So, for starters, we got to talk about how beautiful this movie is. Because even if you don't like the plot, some of the cinematography was fantastic. The whole space battles, that opening one, aside from that stupid bit where Poe and Hux played Teletubby there. But, that whole space battle was shot beautifully. Reminded me a lot of the old Death Star fights. And the freaking part with the light speed attack right into the Dreadnought, that shit is the coolest thing we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie.
You know, it's funny because I feel like that we should actually be attacking this review scene by... I honestly feel like that we should go with that structure. But, yeah, let's just do that. So, we got the opening, Poe Dameron in the X-Wing who's stopping this blockade happening, and I was actually quite irritated with this scene. It's shot well, it's fun in that, it didn't really sit right with me. I understand that Poe Dameron is an expert pilot. I understand he's, the best in the fleet. But it's, once again, to me, it was just the filmmakers, just yeah, he's an expert pilot. Just let him do something really cool, without giving us a little bit more depth with Poe. Charles, would you like to chime in on the opening scene?
I will just say that to be consistent, that whole scene was bullshit because it just proves that Poe is a Gary Stu just as much as Rey is a Mary Sue. And I'm going to call it where it is. That entire scene, he gets lightly tapped by a TIE fighter. Oh, I lost my weapons. Why didn't Luke lose his weapons when he got shot like that in, A New Hope? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Sorry.
Just really quick, I feel like that we should introduce a drinking game. Every time that Charles mentions anything remotely political, take a drink.
That
I'm
sounds
not.
fun.
I didn't say anything political. He doesn't. They wrote the plot so horribly that they made it just like the Death Star run in A New Hope, where the exact same line. Oh, the ships are too small. They're evading our turbo lasers. Exact same fucking line. Sorry.
Well, because that's a consistent problem for the Empire. Their heavy weapons don't move fast enough to hit light craft.
Excuse me. The First Order is supposed to be making up for the mistakes of the Empire, and that's how they've been promoted and how they've been described. Yet, they still don't? Excuse me? That sounds like a plot device and not actual good story writing. That's bullshit.
Well, to just poke fun at the originals, even though I absolutely love them, why would they build the Death with that little tiny hole, implemented in there that you could shoot proton torpedoes into and it would go blue?
Actually, because when they fire the
That's a pretty damn big design flaw, I will say. I don't disagree with you.
Shut the fuck up for a second.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Let other people talk for a second.
Okay.
The reason why is actually in engineering. In order to fire a massive cannon like that, there needs to be a place that exudes all the exhaust from the blast, because it's going to generate a lot of energy by doing that.
See, that makes sense with projectile weapons, but the Death Star is a kyber crystal laser. And as far as I know...
It's not a kyber crystal laser. Fuck that whole shit with Rogue One. No, sorry.
Dude, that was canon back in Legends. What are you talking about? It's always been a kyber crystal powered weapon.
Does anybody want some popcorn while I'm up?
Dude, popcorn sounds great. But no, like,
sorry, we're getting off.
Even back in Legends canon, they always described the Death Star super laser as being powered by a couple of massive green kyber crystals. And you can see there were old, what was it? The original Clone Wars 2D animated show. They wanted to make an episode where they got a kyber crystal, and then they wanted to do that again in the 3D Clone Wars. And they just ended up, like, alluding to it or something, but they finally made it canon with Rebels. Or new canon, I guess. Part of the Disney canon.
No, they made it canon
Charles,
with Catalyst.
Okay. I didn't read Catalyst, so...
Yeah, and if you want it, I'll sell it to you, because I don't need it. I need to exude all this Disney Wars shit out of anywhere near me. It requires energy. Why do you think Kylo Ren's lightsaber, if you want to go with new canon and you want the fake Legends Disney canon, it's Kylo Ren's lightsaber has a crack in it, so it's going to
yeah, he has an unstable crystal, so it needs those vents, which makes the hilt. I get that. But that's an unstable kyber crystal. It's cracked. It's actually physically broken.
But that's my point.
So maybe it's not operating at its proper capacity, if it's literally broken.
They didn't actually say that the kyber crystal was in perfect condition. I read Catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you want to, like, argue stupid bullshit like that, then...
Well, yeah, this is, like, the littlest, most inconsequential part of the canon. It's just a mega laser, that's all we really need to know.
Yeah, and it needs someplace to vent the exhaust, so, that's why there's an exhaust port. I don't believe what Rogue One's stupid excuse is.
I will say, if I can chime in a shit ton, but... the whole thing with Poe Dameron, like, once again, I get that he's this, like, hotshot, really, really good pilot. Like, I get it, okay? Pilot, no matter how good their weight is, should be able to take down an entire fleet of, like, massive starships, in my opinion.
Didn't, though. All he did was cleared out their surface
He was holding
cannons.
his own pretty well, though.
Yes, and I can totally agree why some people would think it's a little bit, like, unrealistic to think that one X-Wing can clear up the entire opening for the fleet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it makes sense, because if they had sent a whole fleet of X-Wings to try and clear him up, then they'd have known what was coming right away.
But he was getting chased by a dozen fucking TIE fighters.
Okay, here's my question then. If you were the bridge commander that actually...
I'll be right back.
By the way, the commander of the Dreadnought was played very well. I forget that guy's name, but he did a good job. But, like, if you were the captain of the Dreadnought, and one little X-Wing was, like, trying to mess your shit up, you don't really have a ton of tactical options at that point. Your turbo lasers are basically ineffective. What he did was what he could do, was scramble the TIE fighters.
And Poe dodging a bazillion TIE fighters, because, you know, they launched every last one of them out there when he was, like, going across that...
Yeah.
Fucking...
But, see,
and
here's the thing, though.
he was still dodging them, and he gets hit once. No.
The Empire
that's very
and...
Stu level shit.
The Empire and the First Order use ships that don't have a huge fighter capacity because they both prefer heavy weapons and fear tactics. So they didn't have many X-Wings to send after him anyway.
But then you're just saying that the First Order is no different than the Empire, which
I'm not
is what
saying that
Disney
they're
was...
no different. I'm just saying they share similar viewpoints.
But when you watch The Force Awakens and they're trying to say they came out of the ashes of the Empire, because look at the TIE fighters they're two-seaters, they carry missiles now, they have shields based on TIE defenders.
Yeah,
they've taken the Empire and upgraded it.
Right.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Shut the fuck up.
Dude, there's a new algorithm we gotta stick. Okay, watch. Our views are gonna go from 50 to 500. Don't forget to smash that like button. Sorry.
God, this is just gonna become a running trope now, isn't it?
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry, Charles. Go ahead.
You threw me off. It's too fucking early in the morning. I can't keep a straight thought for more than a few minutes.
Well, why don't we
were
jump
talking
to the
about
next...
the opening scene, so yeah, let's jump into when we meet Luke and Rey.
Yeah, so where The Force Awakens left off... Oh, I know Charles is going to go off in a huge thing about this, but... We left off at The Force Awakens. Rey was giving Luke his lightsaber back. Now, I had thought that this was going to jump into... I just came here to give you this back. I want to be in a strong power with you with the Force, you know, or something. It was going to play off of that. But the way how it played off instead was Rey desperately wanted to get Luke to help with the Resistance, and Luke was saying, "No, I'm done. I'm in isolation right now. Da 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 da. Who wants to go off?"
Yeah, so I still don't know how I feel about this part of the movie, because like Jedi going into isolation is nothing new. So Luke being on what's the planet called, Octu?
Octu, yeah.
Yeah. Luke being there makes perfect sense, and him not wanting to help the Resistance does kind of make sense, because he's trying to get away from the fighting. But honestly, as soon as he learned that Han was dead and Leia was in trouble, I feel like Luke would have snapped back to it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
He would have well, for one, he would have never cut himself off from the Force. Whatever Disney
I
wants
can
to
see
say
that.
about
No, dude, that can be just part of his Jedi isolation. Maybe he feels like he needs to separate himself.
It's all connected
for a
to
bit.
the same thing coming up later when about the whole Kylo Ren bullshit.
Yeah.
But he, as a character, he would not have done that because he was willing to sacrifice his own life to save his father for the tiniest glimmer of hope. He was willing to kill his nephew for the slightest bit of darkness. Sorry, I don't buy that. So if I don't buy that, that means him going to isolation. Maybe he wants to study about, ancient Jedi text and whatever. And him looking at, and this is something I can accept, him going off on his own to study and to look deeper into it, or he, after reading those texts, he finds out, okay, Obi-Wan and Yoda fucking lied to me. This is bullshit. Yeah, I'm the Jedi need to end with me. I can understand that. I can kind of wrap my head around that, as because when you look back at what Obi-Wan said in Return of the Jedi, a certain point of view, you go back to the prequels and you say, Obi-Wan was trying to make his father sound better than he was, and
he was trying to protect Luke by giving him just the bare minimum information he needed.
Well, I think the only reason why he did that was because both Obi-Wan and Yoda thought Anakin was irredeemable, and so they wanted to hide everything from Luke so that Luke would kill Vader, because they knew that Luke was the one who had to do it.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want him to know that he was his father. And when you watch Return of the Jedi and you hear Yoda and Luke talking, and Yoda confirms that Vader is Luke's father, then Yoda says, it's unfortunate. Then the first thing Luke says, unfortunate that I know the truth. And then Yoda's like, no, unfortunate you ran off to face him too early. Yeah. And it's like, but it's basically, that means that you were trying to use Luke to kill Vader, which is his father, and that basically throws everything off of what The Last Jedi shows Luke as, outside, being that he just wants to sit there, mope, and die. Which
I gotta agree. I am 100% in that with the thing of Luke sensing a little bit of darkness in Kylo, and his first he resorts to simply, I have to, and that wasn't fleshed out enough. That wasn't even anything really you could sit down and ponder over. I felt like that was just kind of, it did felt like a betrayal in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, it was total
and Jedi betrayal.
And the thing is that, as much as Yoda went blathering on about, once you start down the dark path, it'll forever, be in your destiny, or whatever he fucking said. The thing is that every time Luke was forced into that position, when he did, rush off to face Vader and Empire, or when he went off to the Death Star in Return of the Jedi and he used his anger to beat Vader, what was the first thing he did? He renounced the dark side. Said, just because I use the dark side doesn't mean I'm falling to it. So he basically went against everything Yoda and Obi-Wan always believed.
Take that lightsaber and smash that like button.
See, that makes sense though, because if we're gonna go by Legends canon, none of Yoda's species has ever even used the dark side of the Force. So maybe Yoda's super wise, but maybe he doesn't know jack shit about how the dark side works, and was just kind of confused.
That does make sense.
Except that in Clone Wars, he kind of does explore the dark side a little bit. So that's where,
No, because he explores the dark reflection of himself, but he spends that entire episode shunning him. He never. I guess there's that one point where the dark spirit kind of merges with him, but he spends the entire episode pushing away the dark.
If I could just butt in for an important announcement. Hold on. Wait. You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Oh my god.
You're saying it way too fucking much.
Yeah, well, I had to say it yet again because the algorithm, I felt like, or the popularity was kind of dripping a little bit. And now it's back up. So.
And with that, can we talk about Yoda? Because fucking Yoda, man.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no,
but that totally fucks with all Force abilities, because think about every Force ghost that has ever been shown off.
Okay,
Never,
I'm just gonna tell you to shut the fuck up now because I don't care what
Alright,
you're about to say. Because
Here's-
the Force ghosts are the most connected beings when it comes to like how tight they are with the Force. So, yeah, it's totally plausible that Yoda can make a lightning strike happen where he wants to. He is the fucking universe now. That's how Force ghosts work.
I
So
mean, as much as
whatever
Luke is,
bullshit
like-
you were about to repeat off Reddit, I don't care.
I don't even look at Reddit, so shut the fuck up.
Well, whatever.
Really quick, even though that George has said over and over again that Luke is the most powerful Jedi, it's like we all resoundingly know from stories that Yoda is the most powerful.
Yeah, I think
Not
Luke
in-
is
not
Luke
in-
is
not in the
potentially
real
the
U.
most powerful.
Not
Yes.
in the real expanded universe, aka what Disney decided to ignore.
The old Legends, yeah. Luke did some crazy shit in some of those books, yeah.
Oh, Luke goes to the dark side. He can use Force Lightning. He can use Force Storm. Especially in stuff like the Yuuzhan Vong and the Second Intergalactic War, whatever it was, when Darth Caedus, when he becomes Darth Caedus and his sister has to kill him.
Mhm.
The shit that Luke can do, like later down the road in some of that stuff, makes what Yoda did in The Last Snowflake just, look mild by comparison. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that they keep going on and on about Luke, and this goes back to The Force Awakens, is like, oh, Luke is this badass, but what did he actually do this entire time except drink,
Green milk.
sperm?
It's green milk.
Sperm.
It's the
Green
blue
sperm.
milk from
Oh,
the
come
original
on.
movie.
They were obviously tits, man. You can't even confuse tits with dick unless you're
Obviously,
really
Ryan
confused.
Johnson included that to be like, this is where the blue milk originally came from.
Well, yeah, it's a total nod to the blue milk from Tatooine.
Yeah.
But it's the green milk of Octu.
Yeah,
I thought that was fun. It was a cute little
that was a
nod.
little fun thing. Yeah. It would come across kind of weird to a lot of people in that.
If
so.
you don't get the reference, then
Well,
you're
I
like,
got-
why am I
No, no,
staring
no,
at
I
this
got the
thing's
reference.
tits?
Dude, I
Yeah,
know
I
what
know.
the reference is.
No, I know.
just
I
No, no,
wasn't
we
saying
know that.
you. I wasn't saying you didn't get it. I'm saying like other people, like the average moviegoer.
So let's get back on track here. So
Yeah.
we got Luke and Rey. Now, I want to regale some of the irritating things that Luke like in that particular dynamic that they had throughout. What they were talking about of the Force and that kind of. How did we feel about it? What do we have to say on it? Don't forget to smash that like button.
I actually thought Luke's lessons to Rey were fairly straightforward. Like,
But she didn't learn anything.
No.
What did she learn?
It was-
I mean, fucking Luke
I
didn't
like it
learn
was kinda
shit his
simple.
first time with Yoda.
But
He
at
learned
least
how
he
to
had
move
questions.
rocks. Yeah, okay, Rey didn't ask enough questions and she didn't ask the right questions, but I think that's because she knew Luke was just kind of hesitantly showing her the bare basics. Like, she didn't want to push him too much harder.
But then that doesn't explain where she has her power, see? And this is the whole thing, is I don't mind that she's not, like, she doesn't have to be from anybody. She could just be some random person.
Exactly. I'm
stoked.
stoked they
But-
didn't just make her a Kenobi or some shit to be like,
I-
hey, this
I'm
is
still
why she has
against that.
powers. I'm totally
still
against it.
that.
All right,
Still
let
against that.
Charles go. Sorry.
The thing is that he promised her 3 lessons. She only got 2, and there was never an explanation of why she was so powerful. They promised that kind of thing. They promised that in The Force Awakens and all the lead up to The Last Jedi, Disney was promoting a bunch of shit that none of it happened.
Well,
They
I mean,
literally promoted this shit and said, okay, we're gonna explain this. There's no explanation as how Rey is this powerful.
there is
She's
if
a
you
fucking
take
Mary
Snoke.
Sue.
No, hold on. There is if you take Snoke's word a lot more seriously than I would ever take a Sith Lord's word. Because he does say that thing to Kylo in the chamber when he first shows up, where he's like, darkness rises and light to match it. So I think what he was implying there is literally if someone gets strong enough in one side of the Force, then the Force will just, like, promote someone to take them on. Like, it has to choose its own guardian to keep the balance.
But see, that's the thing.
So with being said, that scene in The Force Awakens where he's interrogating Rey, he kind of awoken the power in her, is what you're kind of getting at, Ethan?
Well, yeah, I guess the power's just been kind of awakening in her more and more with everything that Kylo does. It doesn't even have to directly affect her, really, but the darker he gets, the lighter she gets. They're just... and that would explain...
What do you think?
That would explain why they're still connected by the Force after Snoke is dead, too.
What do you think about that, Charles? I want to hear your 2 cents.
In terms of the Force issue,
well,
that goes back to... So we'll deal with the Force issue, because I can understand that based on what the prequels set up as, you know, like the background to a lot of this, like Anakin being the chosen one that's going to bring balance to the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, there were only 2 Sith Lords. There were thousands of Jedi. How do you balance a Force? You kill off the Jedi.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I can get
but
that.
See, but here's the thing, though. If you take this new lore into account for that,
I don't.
No, I know you don't. But I like to try and apply everything to everything and see how it crosses over. You know, so like
not a bad thing.
The reason Darth Bane started the Rule of Two is so that the Sith could become more powerful, and this totally explains. Like, this totally explains that, too, because if there's only 2 Sith, then those 2 Sith inherit the power of 40 bajillion Jedi, because the Force has to weigh it out.
Ethan, all the stuff that you're talking about right now, it's kind of give me, like, a good insight into why people really enjoyed this movie.
Oh, thank you. That means I'm explaining my thoughts correctly.
Just a thing. Now I can see the polarizing, difference between the 2 sides.
I think a lot of this really has to do with, like, what generation of Star Wars you come from, because I'm basically applying prequel logic to these new movies. Whereas if you try and apply classic Star Wars... No, I know. I'm not trying to diss you or anything. But, like, what I'm saying is a lot of the people who are complaining about this movie are more so the older Star Wars fans. I think we can agree there.
Well, part of that is that they designed this movie to be for millennials, not for the old generation.
I totally agree. I fucking hate the new, air quote, 2017 humor that they injected into it. Like I already said, that Poe and Hux moment was dumb. Yeah, exactly. It felt like a Marvel movie at some points.
Like, did Joss Whedon direct this, And the same thing happened with The Force Awakens, too. Like, so who talks first,
to a
me
lesser
or you?
degree,
boyfriend,
you
gotta be... No, but, like, boyfriend, you gotta keep boyfriend. Like, those moments from The Force Awakens felt out of place in this movie, and they just increased that kind of humor in the last 10th fold. You know what I mean?
And then they promised a darker movie, but I don't know, just killing off original characters for no fucking reason is, or killing off new characters for no fucking reason. That's another issue that we'll talk about later, but it's just that they were trying to do
smash that like button. Sorry.
Quit interrupting people with that shit.
It was time again to say it.
He's got a fucking stopwatch going over there. He's like, okay, every 3 minutes I gotta remind people.
Smash that like button with a lightsaber. Sorry, go ahead.
But I can understand the Force aspect to it because the prequels basically said that. But here's the thing though, is that Snoke has always been said, and same with Kylo Ren, to not be Sith. They're trying to avoid the word Sith like it's like the plague or something like that. No, these are dark side users. They're
Well, I think they're avoiding that because the Sith are like a faction, and they kind of have Like,
They want to be
if you hear Sith, you kind of have a predefined idea of what that is already. Whereas Snoke, they just wanted him to be like a really evil guy who has more power than he should. And so I would love to actually know more about Snoke's backstory. That was my biggest problem with this movie.
Which is something that they promised and we didn't get. So
we got a little bit more insight into who he is. I loved his character for pretty much the whole time he was on screen. Yeah, I know. We need more background. I want to know how he got that deformed-ass face. Is it just dark side corruption, or did he, like, get in a crazy fight at some point?
But see, that's the thing, is that this was all lazy story writing throughout the entire movie.
No, I don't think it's lazy. I think it's premeditated so that they can fill out the lore with books and keep the main install movies simple.
But see, that's my point, is that if you go back, you look at the prequels, or you even look at the original trilogy, even look at A New Hope. Yeah, it was written simply, but there was a lot of, stuff written into that you could look deeper into, without ignoring Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, just looking at A New Hope by itself.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There was more subtlety to the storytelling.
Right, and then everything was either explained outright or left completely unanswered, and there was no subtlety whatsoever. And that's the thing, is that Star Wars has always been about subtleties. Outside of, Luke, I'm your father, that's, pretty direct. But, but that has to be direct. There's really no choice in that one. But it's that when you are already planning to release books to explain this shit, it allows the writers to say, okay, I don't have to do any of this shit. I can just sit back and write this completely dry, bland story that only millennials will enjoy because it's so stupid that even a fucking millennial can understand it.
I take offense to that.
I hope you do. I hope you do. I hope you're very offended, Snowflake.
Really? I'm so used to talking a lot more in these things, but I've just kind of let you both go at it.
Yeah,
it's
you're just
relaxing.
sitting on the sideline.
I'm literally quiet guy, dude. Now I know what it feels like to be you, Ethan.
Yeah, no, you and I switched spots here.
Yeah, but it's because you guys are actually having a pretty engaging conversation out of this, and I'm getting a lot out of it.
Well,
so I'll be able. I'll be able to go in tomorrow because I'm taking a little 7-year-old nephew, the best kid in the world, to see this movie tomorrow, and so I'm not only going to be able to have it with that pair of eyes that you guys have, polarizing reactions have given me, but also from a child's perspective, which ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't want to just be like one of those people where these movies are kids' movies, but, it's like people always like to view Star Wars movies with, a youth mind, a youth paradise, a youth mind frame and that kind of thing. It's just, it's going to give me an interesting perspective to view this movie this time around.
Honestly, Star Wars has always been marketed more towards kids and young adults anyway.
Well, it was, George Lucas always said that it was geared at 12-year-old.
Yeah, the 12 to 15 is basically their...
He also used that excuse when people saw The Phantom Menace and came to terms with what they thought of it, and they were like, this movie's shit!
See, a lot of that was because the people who were kids had grown up and wanted a more grown-up movie, but Star Wars was still going to be Star Wars.
Right, and people bitched about no reason. They didn't look at the bigger picture. They just, there were some things that kind of, worked out similarly, like the ending of The Phantom Menace being like a celebration. A little bit different, of course, because what happened in New Hope was kind of, like a big celebration, of the military, whereas this was kind of like...
It was different, but it followed George Lucas's thought of rhyming. It doesn't have to be the same as long as it feels sort of the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll admit that the prequels have their problems, but I also admit that Return of the Jedi isn't actually that good, so...
Oh,
I fucking love Jedi.
I
even
love,
best movie
dude,
in the
I
series.
love all three of them, but no, fucking Empire is the best.
Oh fuck.
It goes.
Well, everybody resoundingly agrees with that.
It goes Empire, New Hope, then Return of the Jedi.
No.
I might actually be
Empire.
controversial and pick Jedi over.
Oh, I put Jedi #1, so you can go fuck yourself.
Nah.
Because
The battles in that movie are my all-time favorite out of the.
I
I
rewatched
like the
Jedi
first
just a
Death
few days
Star
ago.
battle better.
It's more complete. I'll give you that. It's more complete, but come on, be honest with yourself. Jedi that kickstarted all the great Star Wars PC games that we still play to
Yes,
this.
it did. I'm not
X-Wing
saying it's a
versus
bad
TIE Fighter.
movie. I'm just saying it's my least favorite of the trilogy.
I really, when I pinpoint it, I can't say that any of the Star Wars movies are truly horrible dog shit that are unwatchable because
Last
at
Jedi.
the same time,
Christmas special.
Christmas special is
that
better
had
than
Boba
fucking
Fett.
Last
That
Jedi.
was the first ever appearance
I
of
know.
Boba Fett.
And that's
But
the
that's
only
all that had-
only animation that's been re-released.
Well, yeah, because I don't want to watch a Wookiee pleasure themselves while having conversations without subtitles,
Oh, come
which
on.
is what happens in that movie.
No, I know.
And
holiday
Luke with this,
special
what
is
was
still-
up?
The holiday
Charles,
special
what was
is
up-
better than.
Charles, what was up with Luke's haircut in that film? You remember that?
It was.
Oh,
the,
it was all
it was the
scruffy, right?
70s.
Yeah, I forgot.
No,
about
it was like too clean cut and you looked too prissy. I was
Oh,
like, that's not my Luke.
hold on. I gotta Google this now.
Oh,
It's damn near creepy. Anyways, Charles, is there anything?
It was the 70s. It was the late 70s.
Late
Shit
70s.
Like that was weird.
Yeah, but so have
Oh my
we?
god,
have-
it's
I-
parted like right in the fucking middle. That's gross.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna post a picture. No, guys. For those of you viewing this on YouTube, I'm gonna post a picture in 3, 2, 1. Happy sleeping. Anyways, so we've talked about the Force quite a bit. We're probably gonna go back to that. Let's talk about how Finn. I know you guys are going to agree with me here. Finn was under fucking used. One of the best characters to be introduced in The Force Awakens, completely underutilized.
Dude, his whole storyline in this movie is basically my biggest problem with the movie. Like they gave him a love interest no one asked for, but like the actress did an alright job. I'll give her that. But Rose's character
With what
development,
character?
exactly.
Yeah.
She did a good job portraying the blank nothing that they wrote for her, but that's just it. Her character's uninteresting. And that whole side mission where they have to go find the dude with the red plum bloom just doesn't work out at all. And then
And it's actually the
I
reason
thought-
lots of people die.
yeah, exactly. It's basically the
Charles,
whole
go ahead
reason
and chime in on that.
their plan fails. And then, no, hold on, because fucking at the end there, I'm gonna skip just a little bit ahead when they were, they made me think they were gonna kill Finn. And I was like, okay, this is the one way that they could redeem his character arc in this movie. Because, like, he basically just fucked the rebellion over, let him kill himself to, like, fix what he fucked up. And then dumbass bitch just comes in and knocks him out the way. It's like, that's the stupidest maneuver ever right there.
What do you have
Basically
to
could
say
have just
about that?
killed both of them, and the cannon still would have hit the base.
This whole scene wasted my life, and part of the reason, supposedly Disney's reasoning behind giving Rose to Finn is because she's Asian, and there were supposed racists who didn't like that a black man and a white woman were kind of having something going on in The Force Awakens. So social justice came in there and said, okay, we'll give you a minority that's a completely vanilla, horribly written character, just so a black man won't be around a white woman.
But you know what's even funnier is that having Rey and Finn get together and actually have that relationship out, that would have pissed off racists even more.
Yeah, it would have.
And they fucked the pooch on that.
Right, and it's like they freaked out about nothing, and it goes like, not to bring in Star Trek, but this is important, so I'm gonna bring in Star Trek.
Star Trek and Star Wars fans should get along better anyway.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
But
They had JJ come in and fuck around with shit,
oh,
so
fuck.
we're unified now.
Yeah.
Alright.
But anyway, Star Trek was the first show on TV to show a black woman and a white man kiss, and that was horribly controversial for the 60s. This is 50 years later from that. And what they're saying now is, oh, because a few people complained about a black man and a white woman kissing or having some kind of, romantic relationship, we have to avoid that and create another massive fucking stereotype of a black woman a black man with an Asian woman. And it's just like, haven't you people learned anything in 50 years to allow this to happen?
See, and you know what the biggest problem is too, from a writing standpoint? How do they solve this love triangle in the next movie?
Yeah.
Because we ended The Force Awakens with Rey and Finn they obviously had feelings for each other already after that whole final thing on Starkiller Base. It was obvious.
I also just want to throw out really quick that Finn being into The Force Awakens, that he was in a coma, and then suddenly we open this movie and it's like, yeah, I'm out of a coma, it never happened.
Well, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he was in the medical
It was
bay.
anticlimactic.
Sure,
Wait,
it was
really?
anticlimactic, but he starts in the medical bay in that Bacta suit. So
But
he
the
was
thing
he
is
was
that-
being treated, and he wakes
But the
up.
thing is that
Oh, okay.
you have to remember, it's only maybe a day or not even a day since the end of The Force Awakens when...
See,
The
yeah,
Last
I'm
Jedi
still confused as to how the timeline works, because I gather the scene where we first see Rey in Last Jedi picks up immediately after we last saw her in The Force Awakens. But does that space battle, or has that been a couple days, or maybe even a week? We have, the story... it's cut
That's
properly that it crosses, the story flows nicely going back and forth, but I don't think we're seeing things in the proper timeline.
Well, that's because of terrible story writing, but,
I don't know that it's just because of that, but that's probably one of the factors.
Being a filmmaking guy, I will say that Rian Johnson, the two movies that he's done, Looper and Brick or Brink, I'll have to fact check that when I'm done. Yeah, Brick is very unconventional storytelling, which actually can work very fucking well when you're trying to tell a story that gets better with repeated viewings, and that's very, you got to look deeper into it, and you got to look into
Blade
it.
Runner. Sorry.
In a lot of ways, yes. No, in a lot of ways, yes.
Yeah.
So much that way. I think what Rian Johnson tried to do is try to be a little bit more cryptic when he was going to be commissioned to do a Star Wars movie, and a little bit of both. He was going to make it cohesive enough to where you could sit down and get what was going on, but that you would look also deeper into some other elements. I could be giving him a little too much credit, but Rian Johnson, filmmaker, even though Star Wars fans want his head on a pedestal.
I don't know what his intentions really were, but I think
nobody
his
does.
primary goal
because
was to make it the most different Star Wars movie. I think you can really get that feel from it just watching it. If you've seen any of the other Star Wars movies, they all kind of flow to the same beat. George Lucas talked about that rhyming. And this movie does not rhyme.
I like the fact that editing-wise, it add the swipes. As a transition in between scenes,
classic.
nice little... Yeah, just like George did with every fucking Star Wars movie he was involved in.
Well, his editors did.
Directing or not,
Well, no,
yeah, exactly.
George Lucas, see, I went back because I hadn't watched it in a very, very long time. That George Lucas did a documentary on from Star Wars to Jedi back in '83. Yeah. I went back and watched that because I haven't watched it in I don't know how many decades now. But he talked about how he was into editing and stuff like that, and he is an editor, so his work is always behind a camera. He's not one of those like people who gets in the front of it or anything. Not like an actor or anything, but he's the person who hides in the back and does all the little tinkering and shit like that. He's not a very like out in the open kind of director, which is why, you know, he may have directed A New Hope, but there's a reason why he was only executive producer for Empire in Return. There was a perfectly good reason for
and
that.
Honestly, if we're being honest, if you've seen the original cut of A New Hope, his editors made that movie.
Which was partially him, because he was one of them.
Well, yeah, he worked with them,
You can thank
but
the wife that he fucked.
yeah, his wife
She
did like
saved
most
the
of
movie.
the editing. She is the Star Wars. Screw George Lucas. We just need her.
Oh man! All right, let's just praise that the dick and the vagina met. Oh shit! Sorry.
I gotta censor that. YouTube gonna ban you.
Don't forget to smash that like button
Boom.
with a lightsaber.
Trying to
There we
bow.
go. We saved ourselves.
Saved it. Yep.
All right.
Okay, what scene should we move on to next then? I guess we gotta talk
Phasma,
about.
and how they horribly fucked this character.
No, okay, hold on. Because they sort of alluded to Phasma being dead even in The Force Awakens. So, what I'm really hoping for here is another badass comeback. It was too short of a fight. I wanted to see Finn and Phasma bash on each other a little longer. But if she comes back again, then she's gonna be certified Star Wars badass material. Because that's like...
No.
What do you mean no? She just survived falling into an explosion. I don't believe she's dead. I don't believe they killed her. I think they want us to think that, but I don't.
All right, well,
believe it.
Charles, you go ahead and go with your thoughts because
They promoted, and this is not just, you know, and I'm not like having expectations. It's that Disney put these expectations out there. They were saying, oh, there's going to be some cool stuff with Phasma. Phasma's going to be a better character this time. She's in the movie for like 5 minutes. Finn, a pleb, beats the shit out of her when she's supposed to be his trainer. No.
He doesn't beat the shit out of her alone, though. Because the whole place is kind of falling apart around them, and BB-8's stomping around in the walker at that point.
Which is fucking stupid to begin with. But
I thought that was kind of funny, actually. I mean...
I'm with Charles on that. That was kind of dumb. I mean,
it was a
like
little bit over the top, but it's not like nonsense to think that a droid could take over a walker. Especially those smaller walkers are probably fairly simple tech, as far as Star Wars is concerned.
But you have to remember is that he's hot wiring it just so he could like fuck around with people, and
well, he's trying to help out his masters.
But well, Finn's not his master, but
I think Finn and Poe are kind of like dad and dad, you know? Goes back and forth.
Charles, go ahead.
Spend a weekend.
Ethan, hold on a second. I gotta moderate. Hold on a second. Let Charles continue.
Okay, so going.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Hey, fucking interrupting, you piece of shit.
I'm sorry.
Going back to Phasma, they promised things in promotional stuff, saying, "Oh, Phasma's gonna do better," blah blah blah. And we got her for 5 minutes. She's beaten by a pleb, and she falls into the void of space into an explosion and dies. Sorry, they promised so much out of this character from the very beginning. When The Force Awakens was getting made, they showed off her costume first with the new stormtroopers because they wanted to promote her and get toys sold of her. We were
and that's why I think they're gonna make her come back. She is another one of the toy selling figures. Her and the Porgs, pretty much. But the way that they keep selling toys is by making it seem like she dies and comes back and dies and comes back. She's like the Kenny that they're introducing here.
But that's more lazy writing. If you're gonna like, people are complaining, oh, we want more Boba Fett, we want more Boba Fett. And then George Lucas, okay, we'll give you a Boba Fett origin story in the prequels, and nobody fucking paid attention to that.
I like Django.
I did too.
Oh,
In
I
fact,
love Django.
Django was
Django
cool.
was crazy awesome. He's the
But,
best part of episode
I mean,
2,
in
probably.
general, because
Yeah.
oh,
Sorry, go ahead, Charles.
don't give me on the prequels, because I've been watching them again after watching them a few months ago, and I'm really happy.
I'm gonna have to watch him again too here now.
Because, I watched The Phantom Menace last night, and I was perfectly satisfied with everything, and Jar Jar didn't fucking bother me, and I'm from the old school, so all you people bitching about that can fuck off. But the thing is that they're treating Phasma like Boba Fett, which is, people bitch about Boba Fett, in the original trilogy. He's a minor character that just happens to look cool in the original trilogy, so that's why, people attach themselves to him because he looks cool and he's a badass. But the thing is that it's people bitch about his death, but it's comeuppance because Han Solo is the one who forces him to die. Han Solo is basically the one who kills him, which is, revenge for, sticking him in carbonite,
Yeah.
Which I don't see how people, that there wasn't room in the story to have him, have a major role in it. So, I mean, people need to, shut up about Boba Fett. The thing is that Boba Fett wasn't promoted that way. He was just like, okay, here's a new character we're getting when they showed him in the holiday special. Looks really badass, doesn't he? And then he gets some cool shit in Empire because he's a minor character. He's like Lando. You don't get him for very long.
Yeah.
I mean, he's secondary to the story. But there was no room to keep him in the story in Return of the Jedi because they had to focus on the relationship between Luke and Vader. Thing is that had Phasma not been promoted by Disney like she was, people wouldn't have cared. They're like, oh, that's a pretty cool character. But you know what? Disney says, oh, this character's going to be so cool, blah, 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 blah. That's Gwendolyn Christie, blah, 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 blah. And people got these high expectations, and what happens? They shit on everybody like they did with this entire fucking movie.
I don't know, because I think if they had promoted Boba Fett the same way and, not changed his role in the movie, there'd be a similar reaction. It just has to do with what people are expecting versus what they get.
Well, see, here's the thing is that people wouldn't have the expectations
if they didn't market it that way. I know. I totally get what you're saying.
And that's, see, because I've always been against Disney owning Lucasfilm from the beginning. Yeah. I've been against that from the very beginning because I knew they'd fuck it up somehow, and they have. But I wasn't rooting against them, but I wasn't optimistic in any sense of the word when Disney bought Lucas. I was
the buyout itself didn't really scare me until they closed LucasArts, and I was like, oh, okay. They're gonna do it this way. That was one of the
biggest fucking mistakes that they made.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though LucasArts released some horse shit near the end, which was like that dance fucking Connect game that they had and that kind of thing. Still, LucasArts, they knew what they were doing with the majority of the games. They did cancel that fucking, 1313 game?
Oh, yeah, that game looks so cool.
Yeah. That was horse shit.
I would have bought that.
Even though I think that engine would have worked better for Shadows of the Empire remake, but, what do I know?
We'll see. And that, I could rant on about why Shadows of the Empire is not in the official canon anymore, but, to me...
Which it should be, but you and I both, yeah.
We're both EU people, so...
Yeah.
And
so is Ethan, but yeah.
Oh, well, I read Shadows of the Empire book, and that was fucking incredible. Because it gave a lot more detail into what Luke was doing and stuff like that. So how he got to build his lightsaber, he spent the whole book trying to build it, and Luke got to Coruscant of all places. So just that alone was pretty badass.
Yeah, cool.
But oh yeah, he's sneaking through all kinds of weird shitty places on Coruscant trying to find out what's going on. And it really, you know.
So for all the people who bitch about the prequels, Coruscant was already fucking established beforehand.
Oh yeah, and
Ha!
I think
Don't forget to
Shadows of the
smash that like button.
I think Shadows of the Empire actually I don't think it was the first, but I think it was one of the earlier books that actually brought Coruscant into the big picture.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
outside of, the Thrawn trilogy, right? Like
Well-
it gave a little more background to when the Emperor was in power, I think.
Well, we'll jump into a little bit of expanded universe stuff that we might have decided to include in this new trilogy and that kind of thing. I actually have a list of directors that I would have chosen to direct this new trilogy over what Disney chose. But that's, if we want to get into that, we can get into that just a bit later. We can have some extra time at this because it's not an official episode. It's a special. So we can have a little, we can use some extra time on this topic and have a little bit of fun. But right now, so we've touched upon lack of Finn, lack of Phasma, the Force, Kylo Ren's arc. Probably the best thing about this sequel, in my opinion.
I part of me really likes that they pulled the turn on your master thing early.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we didn't get much backstory to Snoke. I'd like to know more about him. But I was surprised that they killed him.
I want to hear your thoughts real quick, Charles.
Kylo really does seem like he's growing in darkness now. Like
a little bit.
Because he has become the Supreme Leader. He is the ultimate Sith presence in the galaxy now.
That was the final step, I think. His father, he was still, in that gray area. Now he's ascended to the final step.
Yeah. Which now makes we're absolutely primed for
Charles, go.
what I want to happen in the next movie.
All right, Charles, what's up?
The stuff with Kylo Ren was all right. Although they fucked this, they somehow managed to fuck this up where Kylo and Rey actually never cross lightsabers, and it's the only Star Wars movie where there's not an actual lightsaber duel, which is fucking stupid.
That's fucking true, actually, yeah.
It's fucking stupid. Instead of, Anakin's lightsaber getting destroyed, they should have actually, let them fight it out.
Bless you.
Smash that like button.
Sneeze on that like button.
Sneeze on the like button. Do it now. Do it now!
Now!
Charles,
Anyway,
go ahead. Sorry.
But there could have been more. Them trying to put Kylo Ren and Rey in some kind of weird, fucked up romance for, no reason. I mean, Kylo Ren not having his shirt on and having his big giant muscles stick out, that was fucking stupid. And then Rey having to make stupid comments about it, put a shirt on. It's no. Just don't even include that kind of shit.
If she had not acknowledged it, I wouldn't have given a crap about the costume design. He can have his pecs out if he wants, but the fact
that was
that
obviously
the
another
fact
Marvel
that she
joke
acknowledged
moment
it,
too.
yeah, it was kids' jokes, yeah.
It was just stupid. They did so much fucking wrong with this.
I like the idea of them being kind of connected, and this feeds into what I really want to happen in the next movie, so we'll call this speculation now. But if Kylo and Rey will not say hook up because that's too much implication, but if they team up basically to create the new, they couldn't even call it a Jedi or Sith Order anymore because it'd be different. But if you have Rey and Kylo as the two Grand Masters, one light, one dark,
creating a
new gray Jedi Order. That's the perfect balance right there. That's what the Chosen One should have done.
And that's really what we've wanted since the very start.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest.
But
the Grey Jedi were always the most badass part of the EU, too.
Well, yeah, but then you get people see, this is the problem that I have with the way they're doing is that they just took Darth Caedus and turned him into a little pussy with Kylo Ren. And But see, the thing is that Darth Caedus actually had a reason to be upset because the Yuuzhan Vong kidnapped him and tortured him for like months and months. And
really quick, was that sorry to interrupt you, but Darth Caedus, was that Jason Solo or
Yes,
Anakin Skywalker? Jason
it was
Solo.
Jason
That's right.
Solo.
Yeah.
It was Jason Solo. He turned to the dark side because he had, a force vision that something bad was going to happen to somebody. I forgot who it was. But the thing is that he was captured by the Yuuzhan Vong, tortured for months and months at a time, and had to restrain his anger because it was in the pain that he was going through. Which made sense that he would eventually turn to the dark side because you could see that the things that went through him and then the death of his brother Anakin just like fucked him over completely. And that's why he turned to the dark side. But there was a reason behind it. With Kylo, it's kind of like, well, for one, Luke would have never done what he'd done. But
what Luke did isn't why Kylo is dark, though. And they overemphasize that a lot. Like, that's why the temple got destroyed and he ran away. And this is, again, where I say we need more Snoke backstory, because they just they make these offhand remarks. Like, Luke talks about Snoke as if he knows who he is. So I was like, is Snoke one of the other Jedi that was training his students with him? Or what? Because Snoke had already started turning Kylo to the dark,
a lot
and that's
of us
why
also
he went to confront him.
That the dark side version of Yoda, which we don't even know if that's true. Like, one legitimate flaw that this movie had is that it didn't explain enough about Snoke, and then they just like cut him off immediately.
Yeah,
that's what I felt. But
quite literally cut him off.
Yeah, no shit. I honestly feel like that it can be going to be more so through comic books and books, because the guy who is directing and writing the next movie, we all don't have much faith in to begin with.
Well, I don't know. If he can make it tie up in a pretty little bow, I'll be pretty impressed.
But think about the way the movie ended, though. It ended kind of like with a, happy kind of, okay, we managed to get away. Yeah, there's still the looming threat out there, but it's like kind of like everybody's,
there's a glimmer of hope again.
Right, but it's like it ends on, like, they talked about it being a dark movie. Now, when you look at The Empire Strikes Back, because it's the middle part of the...
It's a sad but hopeful ending in that.
Right, there's a hopeful ending, but when you look at everything that happened in that entire fucking movie, outside of Luke and his training on Dagobah, the Millennium Falcon's constantly broken. The Rebels lose at Hoth. Luke loses an arm. Rey should have lost an arm in this one, so fuck you, Disney.
That would have been a rehash, though, I felt.
No. But see, it's... And I don't care that it's a middle chapter if she lost an arm.
Losing limbs is part of Star Wars' rhyme, so I was kind of expecting someone to lose something. But
they wouldn't have done it to Rey because, that's Mary Sue, and they can't let a Mary Sue, actually have a
you know what they should have done is had her leg get cut off and then replace her leg with a lightsaber. No, sorry.
Alright, don't smash that like button now. Smash the unlike button and then tell IronMonger to fuck off.
Y'all get what movie I was referencing there, right? The chick with the machine gun leg.
Planet Terror, yes. Yeah. I fucking love that movie, but it should... it should not... Never mind. Just never mind.
The more you think about it, the more you want to watch it now, right?
I actually do want to see a Grindhouse-style Star Wars movie now that I think about it. It'll never get made, but I want to see it, though. Maybe by an independent fan, but then Disney it down within like an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think we're quite ready for the overall opinion on the film. I think we'll save that.
No, we have
for
one
the
last
end.
scene we really got to talk about.
Luke in meditation, which
Yes.
actually that pissed me off. Well, I
that
want to hide.
pissed.
Hold on, really quick before we jump into that. I just want to say one very annoying thing. One of the things that I was hoping to see by the end of the trilogy, not by the end of this movie, but by the end of the trilogy, is who are Rey's parents. In this film, it feels just like a slap in the face with a cock when you find from Kylo. Now, he could have just been saying this to piss her off, but it seems as if Kylo just tells Rey, yeah, your parents are basically just people that sold you off for drug money or whatever the shit. It was like, yeah, your parents are basically just crackheads that needed a fix.
Yeah. So
What?
And that's
what
such
the
a
fuck?
modern trope, like that.
Why would you have that in this overarching story, though? In any Star Wars trilogy?
see, here's I'm gonna play advocate again here, because I think you were onto something right there when you said he was just saying this to fuck with her, basically. Because
I'm hoping.
we
I'm
already
really
know
hoping.
that they've both seen different visions of the future, and the Force is a lying bastard anyway. So neither of them probably saw the truth. And that whole scene, when Rey goes into the dark side cave, which the stupid editing there, I fucking hated the snapping thing. But when she sees the shadows merge, the first thing that I thought was, oh, she's the new chosen one. Because that would make sense. If she has no parents, it'd show her herself because she's just born of the Force.
But see, here's the thing: is that so if we're gonna go and we're gonna say that because Disney has been trying to distance themselves from the prequels, like you can't imagine.
Oh, I know.
But see, now suddenly it's okay to start borrowing stuff from the prequels and put it in here because.
Well, you
It's
can
us
thank
doing-
Ryan Johnson for that because he actually did stick up for the prequels.
That's what I was gonna say.
But I'm
Is
just
that's
saying-
kind of
Yeah.
part of the weirdness of having two different directors direct half the trilogy each. Is there's gonna be weird disconnects because Ryan is probably thinking of different things than JJ when he's putting together a movie.
Yeah, but
His
see, here's the
fan-
thing that they have that fucking story group that decides everything, and they're supposed to implement
They
it in
don't
their
decide everything. They're a board. They have things presented
Yeah,
to
they're
them
a
and they
board of
give their
directors.
opinion on it.
Yeah.
It's not like they're a group of shady businessmen who's like, we can only pass this one version of Star Wars. Nothing else will be good enough.
They do love those porgs, though, who kept following me around Christmas shopping.
They could have made the Porgs way more intrusive, and they didn't. I'm happy for
Yes.
that.
I will say I did actually thought that the moment where Chewbacca's trying to control the Falcon and all the porgs are surrounding our cockpit because they followed him into the Falcon
Yeah.
and he's getting annoyed with them, that was a fun little moment.
Yeah,
Yes,
especially
you
when
would
he just,
argue
like,
it's
whaps the one off of the control panel.
That was good. That's when the Marvel humor fit. That was about the
it
only
landed there, yeah.
You know what it's similar to? From Jedi. What was that guy's name that was the co-pilot inside the Falcon who spoke that weird language?
Oh, Niem Num. He's in the sequel trilogy too, though.
His races. I don't know if that...
No,
No,
it's
he
it's-
is. It's straight up.
Yeah.
That's
And
him?
he's in
Yeah.
this movie, too, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I fucking loved that guy as a kid, dude.
I know, right?
But see,
Yeah, no, but he was there
George Lucas-
for comedic effect, though. You know what I mean?
but he served a purpose, like being the co-pilot in the Falcon. So I mean,
He was Lando's Wookiee, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was actually advising Lando about how would Lando have known that the shield was still up, you
Yeah.
know? Well, how could they be jamming us if they don't know if we're coming?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I still love the way how he talks, though. You know what? Fuck the porgs. I want a stuffed animal of that guy, and I just want to squeeze him and have him talk to me. Gotta get to work today. What do you mean there's going to be traffic? Well, how could there be traffic if there's a stall on the freeway? Break it off. I'm taking the other road. That needs to be...
Dude,
That right
GPS
there-
voice right there.
Yes, exactly. I want that motherfucker as my GPS. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting off topic.
All right, so force meditation and force projection.
I don't mind the ability in itself. I'm annoyed that they use that as an excuse to kill Luke.
You know, so I'm curious here, because the way force projection always used to work, like that we're kind of assuming he died of exhaustion here. But if they're gonna fuck with all of our lore, they might as well fuck with the little bits too. And I have an explanation for this. If Luke was force projecting himself so hard that his spirit was essentially in the projection and not in his body anymore, does it make sense that his body would receive the physical wounds when his spirit comes back to it?
But they never actually showed him.
They never show no, because they don't want to show too much gore in the new Star Wars movies. They haven't had blood
Ethan, you were
since,
just killing it today, dude. This is the Ethan that I want on the show.
Well,
sorry,
we're
go
talking
ahead,
about
Charles.
Star Wars stuff.
But see, that goes against everything that, like, you know, Disney says, is that if you don't see it on screen, it probably you can't say it happened or not.
Yeah, but you can't say it didn't either.
Right, but see, that's the thing, is that Disney won't confirm that kind of shit, so, you know.
No, but I think that's part of the fun, is they want us to speculate ourselves.
I don't mind about the ability of force protection, because that could kind of be, you know, like a way to show that Luke's a badass.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they gave him a blue lightsaber. It should have been his green one.
Holy fuck, you weren't paying attention to this movie at all, were you? Sorry, but like, did you not get any of the subtlety of that scene? His beard is a different color because he's straight up the younger him, and he doesn't leave any footprints in the snow. They did that on purpose. Real Luke and projection Luke are supposed to look different. He has his old lightsaber, he's younger, and he's not him, and that's the whole giveaway. If you watch that scene, so when I went and saw it a second time, I get all that subtlety.
No, I got that. It's just that he was going there because Kylo hasn't seen him since he looked younger, which is why Luke did that on purpose. No, I get that.
Yeah.
The thing is that
he had his green lightsaber the last time he saw him. I get that. But for the audience, they wanted to make it a little bit more obvious that he's a projection, so they had him use the lightsaber that Rey gave him.
But it would have worked better had they given him a green one, because
does the color of the lightsaber really affect the scene that much? I think you're
Be
just...
sure to comment, rate, and subscribe.
Actually, yeah, let's straight up ask the audience, does the color of his lightsaber affect that scene? Because my vote is fuck to the no.
I feel like that Charles is under fire today, and that kind of... I'm actually quite in conversation. But, Charles, if you want to actually go off on some rantings, don't interrupt, Ethan. Go off on some brief rantings about stuff that you know that you can't turn around and enjoy this movie, and it's, you know, like, even prequels, you initially hated them when you first saw them, but now you've kind of come around to them. What's going to make you not come around to this particular Star Wars movie?
Everything, because, you know, it was so lazily done. It was, just when you were getting involved in a scene, they switched to somebody else. That was something that George Lucas was very good at in terms of editing, was that he knew the proper time in which to, like, let the juices kind of marinate with the meat. Like, just have the meat in there, let it suck up all the oil and juices from the marinade to get you invested in the characters. There were parts in The Force Awakens where I was like, okay, I'm into this character. But then when you watch Last Jedi, it's like, just as they're getting you into a scene, they pull you out of it, stick you into something else, and drop one of those stupid Marvel jokes on you. Or they give you the whole Finn casino bullshit. And they waste a half an hour of your fucking time. So that means the movie is a half an hour too long, and I think they were doing it on purpose, just so that Disney could say we made the longest Star Wars movie ever, where they could just ripped all that shit out. They didn't need it. But anyway, it's that the way the movie was made, whether or not you like the movie, you dislike the movie, whether you think it has great special effects or whatever, or the cinematography, whatever, it doesn't fucking matter to me. What matters to me is the story. And it always has been with Star Wars, which is why I still like the Thrawn trilogy. I still like a lot of the old books that I used to read that came out before the prequels, where Luke goes to Chandrilia and looks for his mother there because he hears a rumor that that's where she's from, which turns out not to be true. Which is the way it was written in that particular book to begin with. And that was like a one-off book that was just like one story about, mostly Luke trying to find out about his mother. Because he had no memory of her.
True.
And it worked out, and it works well with the prequels, because it turns out that Padme was from Naboo, not from Chandrila. So, that's kind of cool. But they didn't do any of that with this. They didn't, basically Rian Johnson said, okay, I'm going to ignore everything that J.J. Abrams did. While he set things up pretty well, there were a lot of things I was kind of unhappy with The Force Awakens. But had some of that build up from The Force Awakens been answered in The Last Jedi, it wouldn't only be me, but a lot of people wouldn't be as militantly against it.
I actually agree with that last point there.
Because
Yeah.
it's just a matter of they wrote it so poorly, they took you out of scenes when you needed to stay in there a little bit longer, which is why this movie is made for millennials that have like zero attention span.
Dude, I was born in '87, so technically I am a millennial.
I'm luckily
motherfucker.
Oh, fuck you, fat ass.
And we also got a Gen Z motherfucker in the room too, who's actually
I'm
responsible.
technically millennial, I thought.
Yeah, they are.
What year were you born?
97.
You might be off by 2 years, but I don't know. I gotta double check.
I think I'm like right on the edge. I don't care.
I don't even really. Yeah, I don't even really care. Like, are we Time Magazine, a bunch of old fuckers that hate young people? No. So who cares about the generational shit?
But that's my point. Is that
Charles is talking
generational
about the
gap.
Peacoat Mafia. Call them that, the Peacoat Mafia.
Peacoat Mafia.
Oh, doesn't matter what you call them. The point is that younger people have shorter attention spans, and that happens. That's not only like a single country thing. That's worldwide thing, because you think about how little attention span kids in Japan have.
That's true.
Which is something that I see on a daily basis, basically. But but it's that when you have a generation of people, doesn't matter the generation, it could be anybody, that has such a short attention span that they want to get to the next action scene, they want to get to this. It takes away from the storytelling, and you can tell that that's how this movie was made. It's shit storytelling that was designed for people who have very short attention spans, and that's why so many of the older Star Wars fans are even more militantly against this movie than they are the prequels, is because of that fact. At least with the prequels, George Lucas was trying to give background. He was trying to explore the Republic before the fall. He was trying to
also, a lot of people were expecting yet another hero's journey story, even though that they knew that Anakin was going to become Darth Vader. But the prequels, what people need to understand, I think they do by now, is that George was very much trying to tell a story about how people come to power. He was trying to tell a story about how corruption and deceptive to a higher power, something like that.
Yeah, which is why the whole political side story made sense in the prequels.
Right.
That was the story for the adults, And then the Clone Wars was the story for the kids. And those two kind of went back and forth.
And then people bitched about the politics in the prequels, so George Lucas had to cut some of that out when he did Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is that
when am I ever gonna get my green screen cut of the Phantom Menace? God damn it! Don't forget to smash that like button.
Nah, dude, I want Revenge of the Sith, but all done in puppets.
Oh no!
Shit, let's make that.
Yeah,
no
dude.
way. That would fucking.
I'll sit here for 6 hours just making sure I get the perfect grunts out of the lightsaber fight. Have you guys seen that behind the scenes footage from Revenge of the Sith? Literally, they called Hayden the grunts from the lightsaber fights.
No.
It's hilarious.
I think I have seen that when they're just recording voiceover in the studio.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, ugh.
But, dude, that's like every video game character, too.
It really is, though.
I can't imagine doing that kind of voice acting, because you're basically just making sex noises in a booth.
Yeah, really. So we've pretty much hashed out the entire film. Is there anything else that you guys can think of? Because I want to jump to...
I think we can get to kind of closing, wrap it up remarks, because we have pretty much gone over the important scenes.
I want to spend a few more minutes before we get to that, just talking about how we're on board with this, if we're on board, like where we see this going from here. You know, the whole Disney thing, which we did touch upon this, you know, after our initial trailer review, or no, after the JJ conversation, which was in episode 1. Shame, not really, because you're watching our show. Where do we see all this going?
Well, I think I've already kind of touched on what I want to happen.
To Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. Woohoo! Sorry.
Fuck that shit.
Well, what I would like to happen and what I see happening are kind of not exactly lining up right now.
Right.
But I'm still, I don't know, reasonably hopeful for the next movie. I'm nowhere near as hyped as I was for the last 2 of them now. Like, episodes 7 and 8 have kind of drained me. But episode 9 has this chance to really tie this trilogy together and make the last 2 movies worth it. It has the chance.
And see, that to me, I just don't have hope, because it's not just the director and the writer. It's because I feel
that... It's the whole production team, which is... I'm
kind
of with
They're going to try
you.
to find more... Yeah, they're going to try to find more ways to, like... If we keep these questions unanswered, we could sell a lot more movies, a lot more merch, and have people continuously wondering. It's like, make each trilogy its own unique thing.
Exactly. The reason I like having the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy as 2 separate things is that they actually feel like separate things, yet connected enough that it all flows.
Yeah.
Right, but these seem so fucking disjointed from even the original trilogy. Like,
well, because they're in terms of the style, they're kind of trying to be halfway between the prequels and the original trilogy,
and
which makes for a weird blend. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I lost hope with this movie. So Force Awakens, I went through the nostalgia phase and realized it's really not that good of a movie. It's all right. I tried to watch it again.
It's decent as just a setup movie. I think we can all agree on that. It sets
I
up
definitely
the
agree with that.
characters. But it didn't really... It didn't do a whole lot on its own.
Right, which is something that even A New Hope did more than what,
it was
a
it was a familiarity movie that was trying to rope people back franchise, which it was supposed to set out to do, and it did well, in my opinion, you know. And JJ even admits to this. He was like, I want to remind people why we really love Star Wars.
Yeah.
JJ doesn't realize is that it's vastly different for all fans, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And we agree on a lot of the
Star
same...
Wars for different reasons.
Yeah.
But we all agree on a lot of the same reasons and that kind of thing, but it's like some of us love some elements more than others.
Yeah.
I just don't have faith that JJ can wrap it up that well, because it's like, I've said before, and I'll say this again, JJ is not a bad director. I think he's a really good producer. I think he's a pretty solid director. I think that people put him on too much of a pedestal in terms of writing.
Yes.
Like, I really feel like if this movie was written by somebody entirely different, you know, I would have more faith in it. But JJ's writing it and he's directing it, and from my point of view,
they brought in a second writer to help him though, because they.
Yeah,
I
but
think,
JJ still probably took most of the creative reign.
Oh, I'm probably sure he did, because you know he's an egomaniac. But
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to try a little something fun here. I thought of this on the spot. I got 5 questions to throw at each of you one by one, but I don't want you to answer at the same time. I'm going to call each one of you, give you these questions, and I want you to answer them with 100% honesty. So
Okay.
who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Charles. Are you planning to see episode 9 at all?
No.
Do you think episodes 10, 11, and 12 have hope?
No, because I don't think that's what Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be. I think it's going to be something completely different. And
Are you going... Sorry.
and I think that I know that they're thinking of doing a 10, 11, and 12, but I don't see where they could go with it unless they leave all those fucking questions unanswered just to rope people in. But, you know, and that would just prove that these writers are just trying to, like, steal people's money, and I wouldn't go see them.
Okay, that's, I've done 3 questions so far.
Yeah.
Was it 3? Yeah.
Yeah, number 4. Will you, at any point, ever buy any more Star Wars merchandise, comics, books, or anything of that nature?
I'm going to try to fill out my Legends collection out of the stories that I really want, but I'm not going to buy them with the Legends, you know, marks on them, because that gives money to Disney. I'm going to try to find them used and you know, not even...
Original presses.
Yeah.
Okay, I said that there were actually 5 questions. There's 2 more. The 5th one is, will you ever, even if somebody paid for it, go to Star Wars Land at Disneyland or Walt Disney World, Hollywood
Nope.
Studios?
Nope. 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 0. Nope. 0.
Even if Tokyo Disneyland?
I've never even been to Tokyo Disneyland. Why would I even go now?
They're
I've
owned
lived
by
in
an
Japan
independent
for almost
company.
12 years.
you
I've
told
never
me.
even been there.
But they're
Yeah.
owned by an independent All right, whatever.
It's just
I
that
tried.
Well, no. It's that, for one, they probably won't do that for Tokyo Disneyland because there's not enough space to do something like that.
Okay.
Because of where they built it. I mean, that it's just a matter of fact. They built it in a place where they thought they could expand out, but they put Disney Sea there. There's really no more fucking room over there. And I've 12 years living in Japan. I've never, well, almost 12 years living in this country. I've never been to either Universal Studios Japan or Tokyo Disneyland, and I have no inkling or desire to go to either of them. So that's why I'm saying no.
All right. Well, and then the very final question. This is the most important. Should the person viewing this right now smash that like button?
Yes.
This is Charles, damn it. Should they?
He was too slow.
I was using ventriloquism.
That don't work for a podcast.
Ventriloquism. He threw his voice over to me.
Yeah, I threw my voice over to Ethan so Ethan could answer it.
All right, Ethan. 6 questions. I'm going to have you answer that same question again, but in a different way. But first question is, are you planning to see episode 9?
I kind of have to. I'm one of those people who, like, now that they've given me some story, I want to see how they tie it all together. I'm just curious. I can't help myself.
Do you have hope for episodes 10, 11, and 12?
That really depends on what they try and do with the next trilogy, and I think I can't really say for sure until I see how this trilogy wraps up.
Okay, third question. Will you actually buy any more Star Wars merchandise, thing of that sort?
You know, I'm kinda all split up on the merch right now, because I like me my action figures and stuff, but I don't buy a lot of them. So I might end up with some more merch. I'll probably end up with more comic books, just because I dig comic books, and it's Star Wars.
Okay.
But as far as the video game sector goes, I'm losing hope fastest there.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Question. I had 3 more questions. I remember 2 of. Or no, I remember them. Number 4. Would you, if you had the chance, visit and?
You totally cut out again, but
God damn it!
if I would
All
visit
right.
Star Wars Disneyland, hell yeah, I would go to Star Wars Land. That's fucking Star Wars Land, man.
And I also Disneyland because you're Canadian and they fucked you guys.
Yeah, I know. The likelihood of me getting to it is, like, real low, because there's nothing up here in Canada. But, I'd like to.
Yeah. And if there is anything, it's on, like, the east side of you.
Yeah, exactly. I like Toronto.
The question is, should people smash that like button with a penis?
No, they should use the Force.
Use the Force to
smash that like button.
All right, who actually remembers the questions that I asked? Ask me those questions.
Fucking dude, no. My brain just remembered long enough to answer.
Do you remember them, Charles?
Nope.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me try here.
Okay.
Are you gonna see episode 9 then?
When I get the chance, I'm not gonna go opening weekend, just because I don't have that much of a pull to do that. And if I end up hearing spoilers, I'm not gonna care that much. I will still see the movie no matter what, but I'm gonna do it at my own leisure.
Alrighty. So then, what do you think about the next coming trilogy then?
You need to get new people to helm it. And also, Bob Iger, who's the CEO right now, who actually employed Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, it was a combination between him and Lucas, because Bob Iger's the fucking CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Going to be there until 2021. We're not going to see this new trilogy, until a little bit later than that. So the next CEO might, just be of a completely different mindset. But the way how modern society is going, it seems to be like right now we're in like, let's keep everything safe and instant. So who knows where we're going to be within the next several years? Who knows?
Yeah.
So
See, I'm kind of the same way. We can't really guess on the next trilogy until we have a little bit more insight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, are you gonna buy more Star Wars merch?
Not for a while, because after this movie, even if I go in tomorrow with my net, really enjoy it, I'm still gonna I'm kind of like taking a break from my fandom a little bit. If I buy anything, it's probably gonna be some Legends comics.
Oh, yeah.
Or what Disney considers the Legends comics, It's whatever's canon in your heart.
What, you don't want porn
fine.
plushies all over your house, man? What's wrong with you?
They've been following me the fuck around for the longest fucking time, man. No, you don't even know. I went into Target, they were there. I went into Walmart, they were there. I went into Toys R Us, they were there. I went into Best Buy, guess what was there?
Dude, that's funny, because I actually haven't even
I
seen
went into
any
Fry's
yet.
Electronics, and they were there. They're everywhere. You can't get away.
Dude, I went
into a gas station, and they were there.
I was just in Walmart the other day, and they didn't have any. I was so disappointed.
They're everywhere out here in the U.S. Everywhere.
And Canada must just be boring.
Do you remember the next question?
How many questions have I asked now?
You just asked a question about the merch, so the next question would be about Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. Okay, answer your own question, then.
I'm an amusement park geek, and that's why I created that question. So yes, I will definitely go visit that kind of shit. Even though I'm way more looking forward to Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios, because Nintendo deserves an amusement park more than any other company on the face of this planet. Oh, it definitely is. It's coming to Japan in 2020.
Fuck.
And
I didn't even know about
Orlando. Yeah, and Orlando and Hollywood it in 21 and 22. And it's going to have the first ever augmented reality amusement park ride. So, yeah, fuck.
that. Sweet.
But
that sounds awesome.
I'll go to Star Wars Land. I'm into it, you know.
Yeah.
And
See,
then
even though we're technically giving money to Disney, I think most of Star Wars Land is gonna be based off of the old movies anyway.
there's going to be no named. There's going to be no like standard employees. They're all going to be dressed up as like different creatures and that kind of thing. Different
aliens and like Imperial soldiers, pretty much.
Exactly. It's going to fully immerse you in there. That's what they promised. So
if they deliver, yeah.
If they deliver.
So they broke ground this year on that Super Nintendo World at USJ.
Yes.
So
that's going to be incredible.
Yeah, dude.
Who knows?
I didn't even know.
Who
about
knows
that.
when that's
Sounds
going to
awesome.
be finished?
First ever augmented reality amusement park ride, and it's going to be based off of Mario Kart.
Oh yeah,
Heck
I want to
yeah.
do that.
They
Oh,
also,
but,
like-
we've all played Donkey Kong Country. The roller coaster that they're planning is going to be straight out of the level from Donkey Kong Country.
Yes.
You're in the minecart.
Madness.
Yes, that's going to be a roller coaster.
Dude. Oh. Okay, now
Yeah.
you have me way stoked for Super Nintendo Land.
Yeah, fuck Star
Fuck
Wars,
Star Wars Land,
Galaxy's Edge. We're going to Super Nintendo World. Charles, we're coming to visit you, make our beds. We're going to Super Nintendo World.
Somebody
you.
bring the mushrooms.
We're not coming?
You're gonna need your own hotel.
Well, you're going to help us
we
with
can't
that,
crash
right?
on your couch, Charles? Damn.
Yeah, go make us
I don't
beds,
have
What kind
dude.
of friend?
I'm a pretty big guy too, so I mean, like, I'm probably gonna stumble into your apartment drunk after I get off the plane, and yeah, I fart a lot too at night. I've been drinking too, so just be wary of that. That radiation ain't gonna be nothing
God.
compared to my global warming.
I'm not sharing a goddamn couch with you now. Fuck that. I'm getting a hotel.
I didn't. No. You're skinny. You can be on the floor. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Anyways, the final question that I
Yes.
had.
So, Ian, you gotta smash
Yes.
that like button.
I'm not. But you listening at home should smash that like button vigorously. Smash it so hard like you're abusing your wife. If you have a wife or your hand, smash that goddamn like button. Thank you, YouTube, for hosting us. And we use that that like button so we can actually get some more popularity and you won't come after us. But it's probably not going to work. Man, I think that's going to probably wrap it up. We're going to go ahead and give our final one sentence thoughts. We're gonna let you, since you guys pretty much took this whole thing over, which I'm okay with. I was chilling. What are your final thoughts? The Last Jedi. Who wants?
I'll let Charles go first. His thoughts are pretty decisive and summed up, I think.
Fuck
Yes.
Disney and fuck Disney Wars.
Alrighty. So my
Okay.
final thoughts are basically it's not as bad as your friends think. Looking at Charles.
That's fair. Yeah. So,
Sounds
but
like a
for
plan.
now, that was our Last Jedi special, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We'll be back within next month, official episode 3, and we're going to come in with a bombshell. And then stay tuned because me and Ethan are going to be making Game Chat its own independent thing on the channel. We're going to be doing our first inaugural episode on canceled games, so stay tuned for that shit. Anyways, guys, have a good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the fuck. Enjoy yourselves. And
May the Force be with you.
Don't forget to smash that like button.